Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you are. Thank you for tuning in to our high school parent presentation webinar. It's July 9th, 2020, and we will introduce high school team and we'll talk about the high school program for the school year 2021. Thank you for being here with us today. To start, I would like to kind of bring our attention to two documents that we remind ourselves every day, every time we work and we meet. And the first one is our mission, the joyful pursuit of excellence in academics, athletics, arts, and service. That is at the core of what we want to do and what we want to achieve. Another big milestone and a cornerstone actually for AES is a culture of belonging. We value diversity and we cherish diversity, and we remind ourselves every day about these values that we hold dear. With that said, I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Iftikhar Saeed, and I'm the high school principal. This is going to be our 5th year at AES and my 2nd year as the high school principal. Prior to being principal, I was the high school assistant principal for previous 3 years. And before that, I was at the American Embassy School. I was the American International School in Dhaka, Bangladesh for 8 years. I started my teaching career in Los Angeles, California. And for last 13 years now, we are living our life as expat educators around the world. The meeting today, the purpose of today's meeting is connect and inform. So you will hear from the whole high school team, not the faculty, the admin team and the counselors. And you will have a lot of information to take away from, I hope. We're gonna stay in a higher elevation today. And as we do the next presentation, next webinar, next July 28th, we will give you a lot more information in terms of logistics and details and daily schedules and whatnot. So today we'll try to kind of fly in a higher elevation so that all our new parents and all our returning parents can get an overview of high school. In this webinar, the chat is disabled. There is a Q&A button option that you can use to send us questions, written questions, and we'll try to answer those as they come. Please don't put multiple questions at the same time. Do one question at a time. That way it's easier for us to answer. And if we don't have answers to some of the questions you might ask, we will try to get back to you with those written answers in the weeks and the days coming up. So with that, I will go to the next slide. Mr. Kitch.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. So my name is Derwin Kitch. I'm the high school assistant principal here. This is my 3rd year here, and I'm joined by my wife, Dana, who teaches in the middle school. She teaches French. My son is in grade 7. My daughter is going to be joining us in the high school, which is exciting for us. This is our 6th international school, where I spent most of my time in the tech world. Previously in Canada, I was high school principal for 5 years as well. So we're very excited to be here. We love AES, and we're looking forward to meeting you all in person when you get here. I'd like to introduce our IB coordinator, Teresa.
Hello, thank you. My name is Teresa Gelming, and this will be my 6th year at AES and my 13th year as an IB coordinator, IB and AP coordinator. And prior to this, I was at Cairo American College in Egypt for 11 years and working and teaching in Portland, Oregon before that. And that's where I began my teaching career. And I really appreciate your time tonight and look forward to telling you a little bit more about our programs. Now to introduce Amanda DeCardi.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on where you are. My name is Amanda DiCardi, and I am joining AES and the community for the first time this year. I've been overseas for about 19 years now, and most recently, I've been in Shenzhen, China. And prior to that, I was in Dubai and Shanghai and Saudi Arabia. I am just very, very excited to be here. I'm joining the AES community with my family, my husband, Andy Torres, and my two girls, Madeline will be entering grade 11 and Amelia will be entering grade 8. I really look forward to meeting all of you and working with the kids of AES. I'll go ahead and I'll pass it off to Linda now.
Hi everyone, I'm Linda Hoyseth and I'm the middle school and high school librarian. This is my third year at AES. I've spent my entire career overseas, so I've taught in Japan, Kuwait, Malaysia, Poland, Peru, and Qatar before coming here. I am here with my husband Rob, who is a 6th grade social studies teacher, and we have 2 adult children, one who lives in the US and one who lives in Japan. And I want you to know that the library services are here to support your students, but also you. So please don't hesitate to reach out if there's a way I can support you. And next we'll meet the high school counseling team.
Hello, everyone. My name is Angela Mack, and I will be joining you from South Korea, where I was in Jeju for 2 years and Seoul for 3. And prior to that, I started my school counseling career in Washington, D.C. I have a background in school counseling in elementary and high school and play therapy, along with clinical therapy. And I cannot wait to get to India and to work with the amazing community at AES. Next up, Christina.
Hi everyone, my name is Cristina Alcoth. I'm one of the high school counselors. Next year will be my 6th year at AES. My husband is John, is a high school teacher, and we have 3 children. The oldest graduated from AES in 2019, and she just finished her first year at university. So far, so good. Our son will be in grade 12 next year, so here we go again. The applications ourselves, and our youngest will join grade 8. I am super excited for next year. I'm very excited to work with these wonderful counselors, the high school team, and of course you, and I hope we get to see you face to face very soon. And I'll pass it to Alan.
Hi, my name is Alan Grayson, and I'll be the high school counselor for students with last names beginning I to O. I'm pleased to be joining such a talented and dedicated team of counseling professionals whom you've entrusted to support your children. I'd like to take this opportunity to just share with you some of what I've come to understand about the nature of our counseling relationship together. Parents want to be assured that their child's counselor knows and understands them, that the counselor has an expert knowledge of college planning processes, and that the counselor can be relied on and trusted to work in the best interest of your children. This I can certainly deliver. I've been an educator for 30 years, the last 15 as a college counselor. My goal is to help students and families fully understand the notion of best fit so that together we can create a timeline and application strategy that will fulfill your child's personal, post-secondary, and career aspirations. College admissions is a process, not a product. It's a journey, not a destination. And I look forward to embarking on that journey with you this upcoming year. So thank you for the opportunity to serve you and your children at the American Embassy School in Delhi. Looking forward to meeting you all.
Hello, AES parent community. My name is Richard Thompson. This will be my first year starting off at AES, and I'm responsible for students with the last names P through Z. Just to give you a little background about myself, I am a native New Yorker, and in a previous life, I was an admissions representative and worked with students in gaining entry into a university, so I understand the admissions process thoroughly. Prior to joining the American Embassy School, I have been a college counselor at the International School of London, based in Qatar, where I've been doing that for 3 years. And I'm very excited to meet all of the students and you parents and join the community and work with you. And I pass it off to Iftikhar.
Thank you, Richard. As I was listening to my colleague, I realized that I told who I am, but I haven't said anything about my family. So here we go. I have 2 kids at the school. My daughter Fatima is going to be grade 8, and my son Isan, he will be in grade 5. My wife Sadia teaches high school mathematics and theory of knowledge. And we are really excited to be part of AES for the last 4 years, going into our 5th. So now we're going to get a bit serious and more informational in terms of what the high school is all about. So let's go to the next slide. And before I go to the next slide, once again, Q&A is encouraged. We promise we'll do our best to answer most of it. The questions that will not be answered now, we'll write those answers later and share it in our email communication along with the recording of this video. All right, so once again, welcome to AES if you're new parents. And if you're returning parents, welcome to the next grade. Welcome everyone. One of the hallmark of high school that I would like you to know and think about is our grading system. We use standards-based grading and reporting. And what it really means is that for every course we teach, there are a set of standards, established standards that we have, the teachers know and plan against those standards in terms of their assessment and their instruction. And at the end of whether it's the unit or the topic, when they assess, they're assessing the learning of the students against those standards. How do they grade? For grade 9 through 11, they will be graded in a numerical scale 1 through 7. For grade 12, which is a grade, will be the last grade to have a letter grade A through I, and that system is phasing out at the end of this year. So after this year, 9 to 12, all students will have 1 to 7 numerical scale. As part of the standards-based grading and reporting, we don't calculate our grades. There is no percentage. There is no averaging or weighting of numbers in our grade book. It's all based on the standard and how the students are achieving in their learning goals for those standards. And teachers have rubrics, and that's how they will determine the student's grade, not calculate. So that's a big point to think about. And when the school year opens, we will offer some separate coffee morning or some type of physical or web-based meeting where we'll talk more about SBGR. It takes some time to really understand if you haven't experienced this before. So we'll talk more about that in the months of August and September. Just so you know, if you're new to high school, if you take a full year-long class, or your child takes full year-long class, one year-long course is 1 credit. So if it is a semester-long course, it's a 0.5 credit. And to graduate from AES between 9 and 12th grade, a student must have 23 credits at the least. Almost all, if not all our students have a lot more than 23. Usually, I think the average would be around 26, 27. A typical grade 9 student will earn 7 credits during the school year. They will take 7 courses, and then the 8th block would be their study hall. That's a typical schedule for 9th grade. So those are some of the things that in terms of grading and reporting in high school. Some of the priorities for us in the high school this year, obviously social emotional as well as physical well-being is a priority for all of us. And actually we focused on this topic at the beginning of last year. And part of the journey actually brought us an additional counselor this year, which is Angela Mack, who has joined us this year for the 4th counseling position. So that'll be our focus all year: social, emotional, physical well-being. Obviously, as a high school, we're gonna focus on our academic programs, our 9th and 10th grade curriculum, our IB AP in 11th, 12th grade, our electives and our PE and health. Those are all priorities that, that we'll be looking at consistently. For our students, leadership opportunities, community engagement, and academic and university counseling will be also priority. Given the situation under the global pandemic right now, we have to rethink and re-envision how we do our service, of course, how we do some of the leadership opportunities for our students. And we are working on those, and we'll let you know in the month of August how those will look like. Obviously, I will not be able to send 40 of our students for a day-long excursion in a slum in India. So all those little details will be worked out and shared with you in due time. With that said, I think I'm going to invite Mr. Kish. Well, I'll invite Darwin for the next slide.
Okay. Thanks, Iftikhar. One of the things incoming grade 9s and new students are most excited about is getting that new MacBook in their hands. And every year as a tech coordinator previously, I see how excited they get. So this year is going to be a little different for us because of the pandemic situation. If you're an incoming grade 9 and you're not in Delhi and you have your iPad from grade 8, feel free to use that. Keep using that. That's going to meet your needs for the most part. You can also use a family computer if you want. That's no problem at all. If you do keep an iPad, please let Miss Cullen and myself know. And that way, when you get here, we know to bring in your iPad and exchange that for a MacBook Air. If you're a new student and you're in Delhi, we're going to have your MacBook ready for you. In fact, we're going to process a lot of them Thursday and Friday, get them ready for you. If you're not in Delhi and you're a new student and you're going to join us remotely, you can use any device you want, really. So an iPad, a MacBook, a Windows, even Chromebook would work for you. We're a Google school, so for the most part, we're pretty Google heavy, so Chrome would be recommended. And robust internet speed is going to be important as well. Now, communication is really important to us. So there's several ways that we communicate out to the community at large. Sunday through Thursday night, I send out a student announcements. We celebrate birthdays, we celebrate activities, events. We provide upcoming events, what's coming along, all sorts of different things in there. This is going to be a really important tool for students to keep up to date with what's going on. It's also got important links to events, to the high school counseling blog, to all the student activity blogs as well. So this is a really important communication tool. On Friday, we send out the Tiger Tales. Now that comes from our director, Dr. Torres, and that's meant for the parents and the students as well. And that's divided by division. So it's a high school, middle school, and an elementary portion as well. So that's an important piece as well in our communication strategy. There'll also be emails coming from the high school office as well. So Mr. Saeed will send some things out when needed. I'll send things out when needed as well. We'll get emails from Teresa for IB. So those are going to be sporadic. The only day you won't really get emails from us is Saturday. That's a day of rest for us there. When it comes to reporting, PowerSchool is their tool. And if you haven't received the login and your links and the credentials, you'll get those soon. But PowerSchool is where we keep our attendance and where teachers keep track of all the grades. So that's a really important tool for you to go in and check to see how everything's going and making sure you're keeping up with your work. With Google Classroom, you're going to receive an invite, and that invite's going to give you the option to say, I don't want to receive Google notifications. I'd like to receive them daily, or I'd like to receive them weekly. And that just lets you know what's coming up, what assignments are missing, and what's going on in the classrooms. There's no possibility for parents to join a Google Classroom, but these notifications are really important. Now, as a parent, I get those for my son and my daughter. That's a really good way to start conversations in the evening and just say, hey, I see you're working on this. That looks interesting, tell me more. Or, hey, I see this assignment's missing. How can I help you to get that caught up and completed? If you have questions about academic and university counseling, please email your counselors. If you have any social emotional questions, please email Ms. Mack. You can include me in those as well because I've been around for a while and they're relatively new yet. If you have any attendance questions or if students are going to miss, please let Ms. Sanctum know. The email address is there. And any general inquiries, you can just email Maggie at the email address as well, and she'll direct it to whoever needs to get to answer that question for you. So we're receiving some emails from some parents and from some students concerned about Zoom bombing and how secure that is. So we've been following Zoom, and we know that they're improving the security features, they're improving their feature set, but Google's also doing the same, and they're trying to catch up. So teachers are going to have the choice of using Zoom, or they can use Hangouts as well. At some point, if the feature set for Google Hangouts improves, and that's going to be a really good way for us to deliver curriculum, we might transition away from Zoom to Google. But for now, everyone knows Zoom. Our teachers know it well. Our students know it well. It's becoming more secure. And for that reason, I think we'll stay with Zoom for the time being to start the year off.
Okay, thank you, Darwin. I appreciate everything that you were talking about as far as security goes for our students. One thing that is very important to us at AES is that we want to activate our kids and our students in their own learning and their digital footprint. And part of that digital footprint that they have is about internet safety and security. AES, of course, has a child protection policy, and that's something that we take very seriously. And so what we'll be doing these first 8 days of school when it starts is that we'll be talking about the do's and the don'ts of online learning with the students. They will be making plans for what that's going to look like for them so that they can continue to be safe. The other part of that digital footprint is really about digital wellness. Now, I'm not going to be shy here. I'm working on my doctorate right now, and the topic is around blended learning and distance education in K-12 international schools. And so I've been spending a lot of time doing research and looking at research around this topic. You'll notice that Iftikhar said earlier that one of our priorities is social emotional learning. And that is because that is what the research says. And so that is something that we're going to be focusing on. Lessons learned during last semester's emergency remote teaching, if you will, is that we really do need to focus on social emotional learning for our kids. And we'll be working with the kids to be a part of that creation of their digital footprint. Finally, with digital citizenship, we want to make sure that we're working with the kids to be inclusive. Having those conversations online, this is something that they need to learn to do. We don't want them to be passive learners, and so we will be working with them so that they can communicate appropriately, but then also bring other people into the conversation. We want them to be informed so that they are looking at these resources online and judging them whether or not they're reliable or valid. Most importantly, we want them to be engaged actively in their own learning and not just being a passive person. And then balance in their life. It is important that they are not tied to the screen 24/7. And so we will work on the time management with the kids so that they can have that balanced life. And then most importantly, just kind of being alert. We're responsible for ourselves, but as a community at AES, we're also responsible for the care of others. And when we add the technology component to that, that's even more important. I'll go to the next slide here. So the learnings from this semester are that we are focusing on the instructional design of our lessons. What we're doing in the classroom does not always directly transfer to what we'll be doing online. So we'll be focusing on those student to teacher interactions and then those student to student interactions and those connections that they make. Again, teaching them how to be an online student. Our lessons and our unit designs, technology is wonderful, but it's just the tool for the important part. And that's about formatively assessing the kids and then giving them feedback so that they can learn and take responsibility for their learning. We'll be activating that prior knowledge asynchronously with technology tools. We'll be engaging with teachers synchronously. And then really balancing that rigor, that engagement, and that social emotional learning that I was talking about earlier. Again, just really excited to be a part of the community this year and look forward to sharing more with you. Save the date for July 28th. Okay.
So I wanted to speak briefly about some of our academic program options. And this statement speaks to who we are as a school. We do believe in open enrollment. We don't set barriers for students to challenge themselves by saying that only the most academically successful students in terms of highest marks can try the challenges of an IB or AP class or the full IB diploma. So we really do believe that there are more ways to measure the success of a program and of the students within these programs than just by the results. And so we aren't closed at the beginning to how we want everyone to challenge themselves at levels that help them with their goals and that also that they're that fit their developing interests and passions as well. And on the next slide, I cover a little bit about everyone at AES earns an American high school diploma. And then underneath that, you have, particularly in 11th and 12th grade, you have choices, options. And it's true that at AES, most of our 11th and 12th grade students choose to do the full IB diploma. And but everyone challenges themselves in some way. Everyone is, at least before they graduated, done some IB, maybe some AP as well. Those programs exist at different levels though. Grade 9 students don't take IB or AP classes. Grade 10 students might take AP classes, but only an IB class depending on their language level, and that's not as common. Grade 11 is the beginning of most IB courses and the IB program, which goes over 2 years. And students still in 11 and 12 have some AP options. Something that Christina will talk about also, if you are a new grade 11 parent, then we'll be meeting with your children to talk about their interests in what their academic interests in grade 11. And anybody who's returning to AES, who was here last year, who is starting the full IB, they all meet with me as well. So we talk about their program, what courses they've selected, goals, and things like that. And then in grade 12, unless someone is taking a one-year AP class for the first time, that's when students are finishing either the IB diploma or their IB courses. As I mentioned, the thing, we don't measure our success, or we don't think the only way to measure success is in numbers or scores, okay? I think there are many ways. We're proud of our students and who they are as people and the people that they're becoming, as well as what they might be able to achieve academically. And we celebrate what that means for each student. And so it's not just about highest marks or things like that for us. With that in mind, however, we did want to share our results that came out this week, particularly because there may be some wonderings. There's a lot of buzz in the IB world this year because of questions about how results are calculated. And our results are pretty well in alignment with how they are every year. And so if you looked at this, you would not realize that none of our students took exams, for example. So we believe that the system that the IB used was on balance reliable, and you can see what we have there to share there. So, and we would share AP, but they're just not released yet. So, and
I know that many of us think of the library as a physical space, and we have a really great physical space when we're on campus. Our middle school, high school library is a really special building. But even when we're off campus, there are so many library resources that are available to you and your students. If you have not yet downloaded the Sora app and are not checking out ebooks from our library, please do that, and you can contact with me if you have questions about how to do that. We got a generous grant from our PSA through their Student Enrichment Fund, and so we've added hundreds and hundreds of titles and are continually adding more. So if you are looking for something to read on your device, Sora is a great app for that. And RB Digital is the app for our digital magazines, and we also have a really great selection there. The LibGuides platform is our library homepage, and that's how I curate information and ideas for all sorts of topics, whether it's for a particular unit or for a really relevant topic. For example, there's an anti-racist LibGuide, or there's a LibGuide for for Social Studies 7. And so you can check out that platform. We have a number of databases that are for students of all ages, but particularly for our high school students as they do research and inquiry projects. The password list is available to them through their Google email account or email address. If you would like to access some of those databases, talk to your students and get those passwords, or let me know. And if you're still in Delhi at the moment, we have physical books available as well. We have been hosting or holding weekly curbside checkout sessions. So if you want to pick up books at Gate 2, you can fill out a form and we'll do that for you. And then on select Fridays, we've also been delivering books to Gurgaon. And I want to invite you to join in our Big Read. It's a year-long celebration of reading, and there's a different book or two selected for each month, and we'll be holding discussions and things. So there's a LibGuide for that. If you would like to join in our Big Read, I encourage you to access and read those books. Thank you.
Hi again. Something that I forgot to mention in my introduction is that prior to AES, I worked in Switzerland for many years in international schools, also in Germany, and also in the United States. And I will be working with the students with last names A to H. So that's to that. At the moment, we are working and we will continue to be working for the next few weeks on student schedules. For returning students, if there are questions or want to change classes, they need to contact their counselor. For new students in grades 9 and 10, we will be scheduling appointments after July 17th to talk about options for next year. For grades 11 and 12, that too, we will meeting with you and we will be setting appointments after July 17th. But depending on the academic path that your child will take, will you also meet with our IB and AP coordinator, Teresa Jelmy. All students, regardless whether they're new or returning, will get their schedule on August 4th, which is our first day of school. For any questions or any course description, even graduation requirements, the high school course catalog is a great resource. And if you haven't had a chance to take a look, please do. And if you have any questions, please reach out to one of us. Next slide. Yeah. Something else that we want to share with you is in regards to the SAT administration at AES. We have received a number of emails asking whether we're going to administer the SAT at AES, and good news, yes, we will. And those are the dates that we have confirmed with the College Board. One thing to take into account is that the AES is a private center, which means two things. One is that only AES students are allowed to take the test at our school. And the other is that we don't appear on the list of test centers when students register. So for that, to be able to register at our school, students need a code. And if you are a family with a child who wants to register to take the SAT this year and they need the code, please ask them to reach out to their counselor. And just share a resource, the course catalog. And I want to also share with you the high school counseling blog. It has also a lot of information, and this is probably mostly for new families. And we also post a lot of articles. If you want to receive the articles as we post them, you just need to subscribe. The next slide. One before that. Yeah, thank you. And we will meet, it's really our intention to meet with all students individually and in small groups. Mr. Thompson, Richard, Alan, and myself will meet with all students individually and in the small groups, starting 12 will continue grade 11, 10, 9. And of course, our hope will be to meet with them face. That is not possible. We will use online. We will use link. I'll pass it to Darwin.
Thank you, Christina. And while those counselors are reaching out to students going from grade 12 down to grade 9, Ms. Mack is going to be reaching out to all students starting with grade 9s and then working her way up to the 12s. And what that'll do is it'll give her a chance to check in with the students, see how they're doing, how are they being successful, are they taking care of themselves, what are their social and emotional needs. So even though she starts with grade 9s, if a referral comes in from a teacher, then she'll jump and help out that student. So maybe there's a teacher that's concerned about a student, they'll reach out to Ms. Mack, and Angela will reach out to that student and try to see how they're doing. One of the other things that we're doing is we have a home-based program, and this is the advisory program, as it's called in other schools. And in this, it's just a chance for students to come together with teachers, and we do different activities, and this is really our chance to build community and help to build relationships amongst the students. So this is an important piece of what we do, and we're hoping to build this out and expand on the impact that we have with the home base. This year as well, new students are going to have student ambassadors, and they should be reaching out if they haven't reached out to them already. Next slide, please, Iftikhar. Thank you. So one of the things we've done in the past is we've had a freshman seminar, and that's for incoming grade 9s, and they spend first semester. And during that time, they meet with teachers and they go over organizational skills, study skills, digital skills, things that are going to help prepare them to be successful in the high school. But because of the ongoing situation, what we're doing this year is we're going to take that freshman seminar with the grade 9s and we're going to add any new students in there. So this will be a chance for new students, even if they're in 10, 11, or 12, to get together and meet once every 8 days to help build relationships, build that community. And then also it's a good chance for our teachers to check in to see how the students are going. So that's good feedback for us. In addition to these check-ins that our counselors and our teachers are going to be doing, we're going to be sending out surveys as well this year. And in those surveys, we're going to check for social emotional needs, physical needs, just to get feedback on how things are going and also how we can do things better in the future. The first 8 days right now, we have an action team that are going to build out, and we're going to have a whole program for the first 8 days. So we're going to take a step back from academics, and we're going to work with kids on building community, and we're going to explicitly teach students how to study, how to organize their work, how to be more efficient with the technology that we have, and then how to be successful online. So our hope is the time that we put in those 8 days is going to pay dividends later on. So this is an investment that we're going to take to build up the skills in our students and help them be more successful, in the future.
Thank you, Darwin. We are almost to the end of our formal presentation today. I'm sure you might have questions that we haven't got to yet. I'm sure you have questions that we haven't got to yet. We will have our next webinar on July 28th, and we'll remind you, we'll send you notification and the appropriate links as the date approaches. And on that day, we hope to explain and kind of express all the details that you most likely will like to know for August 4th and beyond. So please make sure that you save the date, July 28th. With that said, I just want to say that this hasn't been a normal summer for any one of us. And in many ways, we are all fighting a battle that other people don't know. So I'm going to remind myself and remind all of us to be kind to each other, to be compassionate to each other. And if you have any question, if you have any wonderings, if you have something that making you pause and wanting to know more, feel free to email us. And if you have any question about the school, feel free to email the school administration and teachers. And I say that knowing that we have our WhatsApp group in our each of our grade level, and our PSA mothers and PSA members, organize this WhatsApp group. But if you have a question about the school, please reach out to the high school administration, Dr. Torres, Dr. Nada Collins. They will be happy to answer your question. If it comes to teaching and learning, Dr. Drazy, Charlie Drazy, our Director of Teaching and Learning, can answer your question. I'm always here, an email away. Please email me, Darwin, the counselors, Teresa for IBAP, Amanda for technology integration, Linda for library. We are all here. So please reach out if you have questions. We'll do our best to get back to you. With that said, I'm gonna finish the formal part of this webinar, and we're gonna go to some live Q&A in a minute. So once again, just wait just a few seconds and we're gonna come back live. Thank you. We all turn on our video. I just wanna thank all of you. I look at the site and there are 136 attendees right now, and I'm sure from 10 different time zones at this point. Thank you for joining us. At this point, I'm gonna invite our school director, Dr. Torres, to say a few words and maybe answer a few of the questions that kind of impacts the whole school, not only just the high school. Dr. Torres?
Thanks, Iftikhar. I really appreciate the chance to address the high school parents for my morning. I'm here sitting in Oregon speaking to all of you, very anxious to get to New Delhi and to the campus of AES and get my time there started in person. I've been working very closely with many of the high school team, particularly with Iftikhar and Dr. Collins and the rest of my leadership team, many of whom you see on the screen tonight. A lot of people have been sending me emails, and I really appreciate it, asking me questions around our opening, and I see many of them tonight. Lesson learned. I think we probably need to make sure we address this in black and white in our future webinars, but to be fair, I think we're all a little bit, as Iftikhar said, a little concerned and nervous about, what exactly the school year starts. There's a lot of anxiety amongst a lot of people out there around either coming to campus or not coming to campus and what that might look like. And the best thing I can tell you right now is that we're in a constant evaluation mode about what that might look like. And myself and our leadership team over the last 2 weeks has been looking at a variety of factors that will lead us to make some firm decisions on the opening of the school. I said maybe 2 weeks ago, very loudly and very clearly, we will open in some fashion on August 4. And so you need to understand that there will be some sort of educational activity, action with your children, particularly at the high school level, on that particular day. And so you should be looking forward to your kids engaging with some of our educators in some fashion. And for many of you who are out of the country, that will be in an online mode. The challenge and the fact that we're looking at is that the campus model and what the campus model looks like. I think everybody on this screen that you're looking at right now have had the hope and the dream that we're going to get back to face-to-face on-campus delivery of education as soon as we possibly can. That's the bottom line for all of us. We didn't get into education to interact with human beings over the wire, over Wi-Fi, on the screen. That's just not our style. We're people. That's the reason we got into education, and so that's our goal. That's our goal for our students in Delhi, and ultimately we want everybody back in Delhi and in our classrooms as well. But we're going to first measure out the safety and security of our campus and the community health that we must be able to ensure to all of you, the parents, and for myself, for all of these important people that you see on the screen here today. I have a personal vested interest and a moral obligation to make sure that my faculty, my students, my parent community are all going to enter into a space that is extremely healthy. And so we're doing everything we can to ensure that that is something we can provide to everyone. And we got a lot of work going on. And actually, we have a webinar scheduled to talk about this here in a couple weeks. So the decision to move to physical will depend on several factors, and those are highlighted in our AES Back to School Playbook, which I can type the address into the Q&A here in just a second so that you can all get to it, or maybe Dr. Collins, you can get that for us up there. But that Back to School Playbook provides a 3-step filter looking at what are the possibilities for us to deliver online education. The first being clarity from the Indian government about the operations of places like schools. And then ultimately, how many students we're going to have in Delhi. Right now, we believe we have about 53% of our students, many of them in the high school, on the ground in Delhi. And then the third piece then is campus readiness for our COVID plans, social distancing, and ultimately community access. So it's complicated. I was in a meeting last night looking through the a matrix of reopening and closure plans, because we also have to remain flexible in that area as well. It's a 7-page, very, very small print, complex document with 6 different stages, which we're putting together a parent document to share with you here in the next couple days. Because we think it's really important that you understand the complexity of this and the concerns we have moving forward. But I think with great certainty, and to give you some solace, these professionals that you see in front of you and the professionals that are behind the scenes working right now are focusing on being prepared to deliver the highest quality education, whether it be face-to-face or online. I see a lot of people who are concerned about their children in the IB and the Q&A and what happens with the IB programs. I have a vested interest in that as well. My daughter's beginning the IB program this year as a junior. So we're personalizing this a little bit in our house, because we want to make sure that she gets a good start in that program. And I know that the people who are in year 2 moving forward toward their senior year, you have a lot of anxiety and a lot of nervousness about the quality of the program that it is. These amazing educators are ready to deliver on that, and they will. And they will, and I can say that with great certainty. So please, I urge you to reach out to these people who know, these people on the screen who know this program very, very well, and give them the opportunity to explain to you in personal terms for you and for your children what that looks like. It's important that you realize that in a lot of ways, it's a one-to-one conversation that's going to best inform where you are with your children moving forward, because everything is specific to your kid's educational plan. So I really do encourage you to do so. Iftikhar, I've talked enough. I'm going to turn it back to you.
Thank you, Dr. Torres. Just to add a little more on the question on IB, because I saw a couple of questions about how it will impact. Well, it impacts IB or not. You know, when we are not together at the school, it doesn't have an impact. And the question was about how long we can go on without being in class for those IB students. That's hard to answer. You know, our teachers will continue to deliver high quality education regardless of the of the situation that we are in, and the situation is beyond our control. So whether we are online or physically on campus, IB or AP or any other courses, we will take as much care, and our teachers will be dedicated as much as they were last year, the year before, and moving forward. This is the same great teacher our students had, and will continue to have. And at the beginning of the year, we will focus on building those relationships, building a community of learners and thinkers. If we have our building blocks right, and we do that starting of the school slow and in a way that teaches not only our students, but our faculty and our parents how to do this right together, our students will be successful. I have no doubt we will have amazing results, just like we had last year, the year before. We'll continue to have amazing success stories that we always have. When it comes to, there was a question about IB Music, IB Art, and IB Theater, and how that will look. We are all in it together. We are not the only school. There are hundreds and hundreds of IB schools around the world who are facing the same question. And there are various teachers forum, there are various coordinators forum where they're discussing these ideas on how to manage the situation, how to change the curriculum, the delivery of the curriculum in a way that meets the standard of IB, gets the result, have the students learn of what they need to learn and what they need to show their achievement in a different way. Mr. Wesson, our IB theater arts teacher, he and I talked about multiple times in the last few weeks about some of the ideas that he's thinking about on how to energize the students in IB theater on online fashion. I talked with Ms. Nelson about IB art and how that might look a little different when you can't be together and building a 3D model of something or doing a sculpture together. How does that work? So all those teachers, all those experienced, dedicated teachers are thinking how to take the curriculum, IB or not, and deliver it in a way that is functional and productive in the situation that we are on. And it is not ideal to be this way, that we didn't choose it this way. As I said multiple times, this situation has been chosen for us and we are reacting to it. But now we are much more planned and deliberate about how we're going to do it in fall. And I think that will come through. Thank you. I know there are other questions that are coming in, and we are at almost at a 60-minute mark, 2 minutes away. So maybe I will invite any one of the panelists to answer one or more two questions altogether, maybe in 2 more minutes. And then any questions that we didn't get to in our live session, we will come back around and give you as much answers as we can. This video will be shared with you in an email, the link to this video, and we'll attach some of the links that we talked about. So you'll have this information coming out of us to all the parents. So panelists, I open to the panelists. If there's any comment or an answer you would like to say, take it, please. Okay, going once, going twice. Oh, Mr. Torres, Dr. Torres.
I'm just finishing typing a message, but I did also want to remind everyone that there will be a message coming out from the school tomorrow. I guess it's Thursday night in India still, right, Iftikhar? So yes, tomorrow. And just to remind everyone that we're doing 2 more parent webinars next week, and going to be starting to focus on our colleagues in the elementary school. Charles Bellamy is on the call here tonight, and he and his team will be talking about which one are you starting with first, Charles? I forgot.
We're starting with pre-K on the 14th.
So our youngest?
We'll start with the youngest, and then we'll move to kindergarten through 5th grade on the 15th.
Great. And then we have a middle school literacy event on a week from tonight. That's talking about engaging our middle school students with literacy. Appreciate everybody attending. We have really good attendance at these, and I appreciate it. And then please continue to send in your questions to the team as I suggested earlier. Thank you.
Thank you so much again, and we will see you on July 28th for our next webinar. In the meantime, if you have any questions, feel free to email us and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you.